Sometimes a week can feel like a collection of waiting. The doctor's office, the airport, the pickup line at school, and there's only so much idle scrolling you can take. Make the most of your wait and download the free Boise State Public Radio mobile app to enjoy the company of live radio and podcasts. Stay entertained and informed with the latest news, inspiring stories, and thought-provoking discussions. Download the Boise State Public Radio app today to make your future waiting worthwhile.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. This morning, we have an election update, including a big word of caution from Idaho election officials. We will continue Idaho's debate on daylight saving time as we prepare to turn the clocks back this weekend. And, of course, there's another big football game. This one is tonight. It is Friday, the 1st of November, and here are today's stories. With now just a handful of days before Election Day, Ada County's ballot counting system went off without a hitch yesterday as officials tested it ahead of Tuesday's big day. James Dawson was there.
Tabulators at Ada County Election HQ counted test ballots as they made sure the machines are ready for Election Day. The equipment passed with flying colors. Ada County Clerk Trent Triple says anyone wanting to validate the count will be able to do so when his team uploads scans of every anonymous ballot online for the public to see a few days after the election. The county has been doing this for several cycles, and Triple says they've yet to find an error.
Because we are willing to put those out there, we really look closely at our systems to make sure we're doing things right. The last thing that we want is some kind of discrepancy.
As of Thursday, more than 112,000 county residents had voted early or by absentee ballot. That's about 1/3 of all votes already cast in Idaho. Polls will be open Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
With so many issues inspiring voters this year, the economy, immigration, reproductive rights, this morning we consider the environment. And we ask if climate change is swaying voters this season. Caleb Radel has that story.
For years, climate change awareness was growing in the U.S., but that slowed after the pandemic, as conspiracies about the government and science exploded. That's according to Lawrence Hamilton. He's a researcher at the University of New Hampshire who studies public views of climate change.
There's this connection between certain positions, such as rejecting science on climate change, and your personal deep identity. And once that connection's made, it's really hard to uncouple.
But he adds that younger generations are more likely to blame humans for climate change. In the future, the issue could have a bigger impact on elections across our region. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Radel.
This will be the weekend that we move our clocks around again. Specifically, we'll fall back on Saturday night, early Sunday morning, which means it will be getting darker earlier. And over the past few years, the Idaho legislature has weighed in on the matter several times. In fact, it was earlier this year that measure came to the full Idaho House to rid the state of daylight saving time altogether. And this time, the effort was sponsored by GOP House Representative Joe Alfieri of Coeur d'Alene.
Going to get rid of this ridiculous switch that we have. This would keep us on standard time, would keep Idaho on standard time. There are two other states that do that. Arizona and Hawaii stay on standard time. They don't make the switch as other states do. Standard time is the logical way in which time has been kept for a very long time. The switch to daylight savings time came in 100 and something years ago.
But just like previous years, there was pushback, this time from fellow Republican Barbara Ehart of Idaho Falls, who said she wants to keep daylight saving time permanent.
When it comes to setting our clocks back, nobody in here must ever lose their electricity. I have to set my clock back. I shouldn't say a lot because Idaho Falls Power does a good job, but I have to set my clock because the electricity goes out. So how many of us are going to, my dad didn't have that old wind-up clock. I mean, these arguments are so easily refutable. I do not want to go back. If we want to keep daylight savings time all the time, I absolutely will keep that.
For the record, that measure earlier this year did pass through the House, but that's as far as it got. It never even got a hearing in the state Senate. So again, we will be turning our clocks back tomorrow night. In sports, the Boise State Broncos, now number 15 in the nation, have another big home game. It's tonight. They are home to host San Diego State. Here's head coach Spencer Danielson.
We got a big-time test coming here on the Blue. They're undefeated in Mountain West Conference play, so are we. It's going to be a big matchup. And the last time the Aztecs were on the Blue, they beat the Broncos on the Blue. I was a part of that. And we can't let that happen, and they're going to have every right to come in here and beat us, and we got to earn the right to protect the Blue on Friday night.
Kickoff, 6 p.m. It's a sellout. In fact, the final 3 home games are all sold out, the first time in program history that an entire regular season has been sold out. Tonight's game will be televised on Fox Sports 1. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Monday. We'd love it if you could rate or review The Connector where you're listening right now, and spread the word in your circle or share The Connector with a friend that you might think would like it. And thanks for listening.
No matter what happens in Washington, the NPR Politics Podcast is here for you. For the latest news, insights, and analysis from the election and beyond, listen to the NPR Politics Podcast.